I think that you would all, I hope you will all be willing to sacrifice some small part of your break to hear from Cecily Joseph, who is the Executive Director of Corporate Responsibility for Symantec Corporation. In that role, with the fourth largest independent software company in the world, she oversees their global corporate responsibility program, including environmental, social, and governance program development, integration, and alignment. So please, I turn this over to you.
So there's a pattern here. The women have been going last, and we have to complete our presentations in lightning speed. So I'll try and comply. So I'll just start. So I'm going to touch briefly on, let me tell you a little bit about myself and Symantec for the students that are there in the audience. I think it's always interesting to find out what people's histories have been, what brought them to where they are. So I started my career as a corporate attorney and transitioned into corporate responsibility about 10 years ago. And what I would say as advice for anybody is there are very limited jobs in sustainability. So if you want to be the one sustainability person in a company, I would say that there are less of those opportunities, and I would encourage you to be the CEO, to be the head of marketing, to be the chief financial officer, and to be an undercover sustainability person. And I think that that would be a really good roadmap for all of us. To give you an overview, what I'm going to talk about very briefly is I'm going to talk a little bit about our corporate responsibility program and our relationship with the UN Global Compact, and then I'm going to talk very briefly about the third goal of the MDG, which is around women's empowerment. So for those of you who are too scared to ask, who really is Symantec? Because after you follow some of the name brands that we have, you may not know, so I'll share with you. Symantec is probably best known to most of you as Notre Antivirus, which is one of our flagship products. We are the fourth largest software company in the world. We're about $6 billion in revenues. We have operations in 48 countries, and we sell to both consumers and to the enterprise. Leadership is a big part of our program. We signed the Global Compact in 2006. We are on a continuous path to integrating the principles into our company. We see it as a framework for our program, and it really drives the program. I, in my job, also serve as the business representative to the U.S. network, to the Global Compact. So all of the U.S. companies that are signatories to the Global Compact are part of a U.S. network. And there's a steering committee, and we represent the U.S. companies for that steering committee. We meet twice a year and touch on different issues and relevant topics. And this year, Symantec also joined the leadership platform for the Global Compact as well. Just a quick overview of how it all fits together. So we obviously, like many companies, engage in stakeholder engagement. We're very focused on greening our company. One of the first things that we did when we joined the Global Compact is realize as a software company about 6 years ago, wow, we don't really have much of an environmental program, which 6 years ago wasn't really that unusual for a software company. And so the Global Compact really helped us to look at stewardship across our company and to build an environmental program. We obviously look at public policy initiatives. We're very focused on diversity and especially women's empowerment. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And our reporters, one of the things the Global Compact did for us is really encourage us to do our first report, which we did in 2008, and then we recently did our second report in 2010. And one of the things I was asked to touch just briefly on is we embarked on a very collaborative materiality analysis project for both reports, which really helped us identify what areas that we wanted to report on. And we, of course, use the GRI as our reporting platform. And all of this is available on our website. I'm not going to go into a lot more detail given the time. So the Millennium Development Goal that I want to talk a little bit about is goal number 3, which is to promote gender equality and the empowerment of women. And this is very near and dear to Symantec's heart. The issue for us is that today in our company, in our industry, there are 27% women, and we as a company even have less in our engineering, which is about 15%. The opportunity for us is large. We see it as creating a more competitive and innovative company. Some research showing that more women on the board really means more profitability, so who wouldn't want that? And recent research shows that about 80% of all purchasing decisions are made by women. And I have to assume that women are making some of the decisions about purchasing software as well. So having more women represented in the innovation of our products, in the selling of our products, and in the leadership of our company is in the best interest of Symantec. These are the women's empowerment principles. They are a set of 7 principles, very high level, with indicators actually, several that fall under them. This has been put into place by the UN Global Compact and UNIFEM originally, which is now part of UN Women. And for us, it represents a very high-level statement on integrating gender equality in the workplace. And it covers all aspects of gender equality. Like the Global Compact, it requires a signatory and endorsement at your CEO level, a public statement, and then a continuous follow-up and measurement of the progress you're making in a transparent and accountable manner under the goals. And so we've adopted this, and this has become part of our program. Kelly, I'd like to point out that PepsiCo is a signatory to the UN to the Women's Empowerment Principles of the UN Global Compact, and we would welcome Coca-Cola joining as well. So that's a little bit about the Women's Empowerment Principles, and you will see more of that developing, I think, over the next year. In addition, Symantec has also participated in a local initiative which I think has a global impact. We partnered with the city of San Francisco on the development of a tool. And the tool is a tool on measuring progress on how you're doing around gender equality. So it's one thing to have a set of principles, but we've actually invested in helping to create an online tool which any of you can use. It's available externally on the GEP website for the city of San Francisco. And it's an actual exercise your company or your organization, or if you're an NGO working with a company, can advise them to utilize to really assess what progress they're making, how they're doing, how they can be doing better. There are a wealth of resources on this site. So it's really the next step. Okay, now I've adopted something. How do we really make this happen, and how do we make it work? So it's a tool that's available for all of you. And finally, just a heads up that the Global Reporting Initiative, and we've been working in a working group with the Global Reporting Initiative for the past year, will be requiring companies or asking that companies step up their reporting against a larger set of gender-related criteria. There will also be expanded guidance coming out in the new G3.1, which will require companies to not only report on expanded criteria around gender, but just also for information around human rights and community impacts as well. And so there was a large working group focused on this. And again, I think the trend will be as companies are issuing their COPs and their corporate responsibility reports, you will hopefully see more accountability in the areas of gender equality. And finally, I leave you with our published gender goals. These are the goals that we have published for our corporate responsibility program at the company and for our gender commitment. And we'll be reporting and measuring our progress against these in the future. Thank you.